My name is Max Levi. I was born in Wuppertal, Germany in 1921. It's a mid-sized industrial town about 20 miles east of Düsseldorf. My parents had just come back from East Africa, where my father had a business. And of course, after the war, it became a British colony. And they started life all over again. East Africa is now Tanzania. It was not a stable Germany they returned to. The revolution was over, but the political system, the political atmosphere was very, very unstable. I started school in 1927 and almost immediately was confronted with anti-Semitism. Now, mind you, this was 6 years before Hitler. It was in first or second grade, I don't recall which, when one of the kids called me a dirty Jew. It was an experience which I didn't realize at the time. I really never forgot, and I learned to live with to this day. I have no idea how it came about. My parents, of course, had no explanation for it and told me, don't worry about it, things will be all right. These things do happen and you'll be all right. My father, who fought for Germany in East Africa in World War I, believed that our family did not have to be concerned about these things. We were German, and the German people would never really tolerate anything like this, and certainly would not tolerate Hitler, even when Hitler took over in 1933. First time he was really made drastically. Life became, well, we became totally segregated, really. We could not go to parks anymore. We could not go to the theater anymore. Just imagine a teenager today not being able to go to a movie or to a theater. We were concerned after the book burning, which books can I keep? And things got just more and more unpleasant. But we did have a wonderful Jewish community, and I joined, of course, the Jewish Boy Scouts. Instead of brown shirts, we wore white shirts and blue pants, whereas the Hitler Youth wore brown shirts and blue pants. But even then, we couldn't go anywhere, we couldn't travel anymore. We used to spend my vacation in a small village. My father's brother, who had a lovely farm in central Germany, right near Kassel. And he invited 3 other of my friends to come along. And we spent our vacation in the country. However, we did go on hikes. We wore our uniforms, that is, the blue pants and the white shirts. That was our our Boy Scout uniform. And after about 2 days, my uncle called me in the morning, and he said, I want you to take a look and see what's going on outside. And lo and behold, outside, was a group of Hitler Youth going through close order drills, marching up and down in front of his bed and breakfast and pub. I said, well, that's interesting. What are they doing here? He said, well, this is a warning to you not to wear your uniforms. And be careful where you go. And I want you to have adults with you all the time. That sort of spoiled our vacation. But we stayed on and returned home. When the stormtroopers boycotted his business in 1934. We had the stormtrooper in front of his establishment, and no one, of course, would enter. And I saw it and I watched it. But again, he said, the German people will not tolerate this. It will go away. He was, in other words, German first and the Jew second. And this, of course, was followed almost immediately by the Nuremberg laws in 1934. And here again, of course, the good Germans won out when I was permitted to stay in high school. It was in my second year of high school in 1934. And the Jewish, anyone whose father was not a quote-unquote veteran had to leave the public schools and go to either private school or Jewish schools. In our small town, there weren't enough kids to warrant a Jewish school. And I continued on in high school. It became more and more unpleasant to sit in the auditorium, and every day there were more and more brown shirts in the auditorium. And toward the end, we were just 5 Jewish boys in the gymnasium, and everyone else wore brown shirts, and we did not. And we had to listen to all the speeches, propaganda speeches of the Goebbels and Hitler and God knows who. Every morning, that was our very first assignment, is to listen to the speeches. After the Reichstag fire, things did get rougher and tougher. I remember our famous dentist was found dead in the river because he had communist affiliation, whatever that was called in those days. And then, of course, Hindenburg died and things changed very, very